Good morning, everyone. We are really grateful to those of you who have joined us before and on time. We request you to please settle down in the next 5 minutes, and if your name is not written in English on your Zoom windows, we request you to please change it so that we know who you are. Additionally, we request you to please keep your videos on and make sure that you are on mute throughout the call so as to avoid any disturbances. Once again, thank you so much for joining us from various parts of the world, especially the Asia and the Pacific. Please paste the flag of your country in the chat box, and we will see you in 5 minutes. Hello, everyone. I'm Shan Suhas Kumar, APYE 2017 alumna and the Global Ambassador of World Merit. And I'm here to welcome you to the opening day of the Asia Pacific Youth Exchange Online and the Global Social Innovation Idea Competition. We are thrilled to have you with us and officially commence this journey spanning over the month of August 2020. Today, we will be hearing from distinguished guests, youth and social impact organization leaders from the Asian region. We're excited to begin our day with a high-level forum and hear the opening remarks from two really distinguished guests. We would first like to present to you a message from Dr. Jae-Yul Nam, the Vice President for Industry Academic Cooperation at Kamyang University. Kamyang University has focused on industry university cooperation since 2015, and Dr. Jae-Yul Nam became the first Vice President of Kamyang University of Industry Academic Cooperation in Korea. We would now like to share his message with you all.
Dear participants, distinguished guests, professors, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to the first Asia Pacific Youth Exchange Online and Global Social Innovation Idea Competition. I would like to thank the young leaders and the organizers for taking the time to be the part of this program in these challenging times. I would have preferred to have met you under different circumstances than we are now, which is COVID-19 global pandemic. COVID-19 is disrupting our lives in an unprecedented way, and it might continue to do so for a little while. However, I wholeheartedly believe we will all overcome this because us humans collectively continue to adapt and fight to live another day. And the young people have always played a great role in times of adversity. In that spirit, The theme of our program is named Fostering Global Social Innovation, Youth Leaders Through Social Change, Preparation for Post-COVID-19 and the New Normal Era, and Building an Untact Environment. Although the program is held online due to the current circumstances, I believe everyone is willing to give their best to overcoming this pandemic and for the program. And it is expected to bring 200 young leaders that make up 40 teams. And I and the team promise to listen and entertain ideas forwarded by the youth from all four corners of the world. Once again, I would like to applaud the frontier and the volunteer spirit of everyone that has come out here today, and would also like to thank Hanyang University and the Gaming University for putting together such a meaningful event. I hope and truly believe that APYE Online 2020 program will become a foundation in which universities and communities can work together to create a sustainable development, and where there will be a great role for our youth. Thank you very much.
We thank Dr. Jayol now for sharing that message that emphasized the importance of young people innovating in the age of the pandemic and the adversity that we're going through, and emphasizing our role in bringing positive change in this time. We are now going to move to our next speaker for today. We also have a message from Dr. Myung-Jik Kim. Dr. Myung-Jik Kim is a professor at the College of Economics and Finance at Hanyang University since 1995. Prior to this position, he was an associate professor at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. He currently serves as an executive vice president for academic affairs and a dean of graduate school at Hanyang University. We're excited to share his video message with you all.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you happen to be. I'm Myung-Jik Kim, Executive Vice President of Academic Affairs of Hanyang University. Welcome to the first Asia-Pacific Youth Exchange online. Before I begin, I would like to express my gratitude to Vice President Maria Leonor Robredo of the Philippines and other special guests who have spared their time to be here and celebrated us. Since the outbreak of COVID-19 around the world, it has been challenging for the older generation to help young people who still want to be a change in their community and the world. This is why we launched the APYE online. We understand that there are still billions of people who need their bright ideas to cope with their difficulties. The choice we make in life determine our future and build who we are as people. As I have witnessed over the last few years, the APYE community has fostered bright young leaders who have made a very significant choice in their lives. They have chosen to bravely face the problems in our society and have chosen to make a change in our world despite the cynicism and pessimism prevalent in our society. By choosing to be one of them, I can proudly say that you have come one step closer to becoming change makers. My job is to respond to that choice. In fact, it is the responsibility of the older generation, international organizations, government bodies, corporations, and universities to ensure that young people are provided with the sufficient resources and opportunities for their passion and creativity. With the right support system, people like you can change the world. In the past few years, Hanyang University has helped many youth from APYE programs such as seed funding for social ventures and scholarships for foreign youth under the huge initiative supporting young people become more acquainted with social innovation. Also, there are a few programs on the UNDP help youth teams called UNDP Youth Collab. You can hear it later in the sessions. As difficult as it is for everyone around the world, it is also our chance to restore faith in ourselves, to prove that we can overcome such hardship if we work together. Remember that young people like you are the key agents in this journey. Surprise us with your ideas, make it count. I'll be looking forward to listening to your thoughts and voices. I wish all of you good luck. Enjoy the sessions. Thank you.
We're really grateful to Dr. Myung-Jik Kim for sharing his message of hope, especially for young people in the world to implement their bright ideas. And we are always grateful to Hanyang University and their vision in supporting making positive change and implementable reality for youth for the Asia Pacific Youth Exchange. Now, we will be going on to our next speaker for today, and I would like to invite Mr. Christopher M. Morris. Mr. Morris is the Principal Social Development Specialist, NGO Center, of the Sustainable Development and Climate Change Department at the Asian Development Bank, and also the head of Asian Development Bank's NGO and Civil Society Center. He oversees the planning, implementation, and monitoring of ADB's overall engagement with civil society organizations. He also leads ADB's Youth for Asia initiative, empowering youth voices, insights, and actions to contribute to ADB's operations and knowledge work. We are honored to welcome Mr. Morris.
Thank you for the introduction. I do feel privileged to lead ADB's in-house youth-led and youth-focused initiative, which we call Youth for Asia. I remember just over a year ago that I was talking with the Asia Pacific Youth Exchange here in the Philippines, saying that we would need to do something different in 2020. I did not imagine in any way the world would be so very different now. I never imagined I would be here today talking to you all through a small camera on my laptop. It is, of course, my great pleasure to deliver a message to you today, but it comes with certain sadness for not being able to meet you together in person in these unprecedented times. Let me take you on a short journey down memory lane. ADB's Youth for Asia initiative has been working closely with the Urban Youth Academy and the
Mr. Morris, I'm really sorry to interrupt in the middle. Will it be possible for you to switch on your video? And also, we're unable to hear you very clearly. I apologize for the interruption. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Morris. Yes, we can see you and hear you better. Yes.
All right. Sorry, you will have to bear with me as I'm having some slight technical problems with my Wi-Fi and connectivity. Anyway, let me restart because I'm very energized and very pleased to be with you today. Thank you for the introduction. I do feel very privileged to lead ADB's in-house youth-led and youth-focused initiative, which we call Youth for Asia. I remember just over a year ago that I was talking with the Asia Pacific Youth Exchange here in the Philippines, saying that we would need to do something different in 2020. But I did not imagine in any way we would be in such a very different, so different environment. I never imagined I would be here today, struggling with my Wi-Fi and looking through a small camera on my laptop addressing you. It is, of course, my great pleasure to deliver a message to you today, but it comes with certain sadness for you not being able to meet you in person in these unprecedented times. But let me take you on a short trip down memory lane. ADB's Youth for Asia initiative has been working closely with the Urban Youth Academy and the Asia Pacific Youth Exchange, or APYE, since 2016, when Mr. Kim and the Urban Youth Academy launched the first APYE in Manila, in the Philippines, at ADB's headquarters. This launch was just 6 months after 200 nations had gathered at the United Nations in New York to adopt the ambitious 17 development goals. The Sustainable Development Goals pledging, amongst other things, to eliminate extreme poverty globally, to fight inequality, and providing good education for all by 2030. Hugely important issues for young people of today. APYE remains focused until today on the UN's global goals and has come a long way since 2016, having supported thousands of youth from across the region with events in the Philippines, Thailand, the Republic of Korea, and Vietnam. But why am I here? The greatest pleasures that I've had over the last 10 years have been raising my teenage children, now in their mid-20s in the UK, and also working with the Youth for Asia. I can honestly say, through both these experiences, I've learned so much about the potential of young people across Asia and the Pacific to make extraordinary things happen. With the new global context and reality brought upon by COVID-19 pandemic, envisaging a world beyond 2020, or even a thought of those 2030 global goals seems to be immensely difficult and a long way away at the moment. But I see there are two ways as global citizens we can respond to these. We can either passively wait for things to get better, which in time they will, or we can participate in smart and meaningful ways, addressing the challenges with passion and energy. Coupled with great ideas and strategy, we can strive on forward towards 2030 and achieving the global goals. History would tend to suggest large-scale disasters and disruptions such as COVID-19 lead to change. Just think about it. Did you know, for example, that after the Second World War, we saw the creation of major global organizations, such as the World Bank, the IMF, NATO, and the United Nations. And it's amazing to think what our global goals would look like if we had not really reflected on those lessons from World War II. So I do see opportunities in the current COVID-19 crisis that lie ahead of you. And I guess many of you are also here today because you have a vision for change, a hunger for disruption, or a desire to see a better world. APYE, like many events globally, is being held virtually. It is coupled with the Global Social Innovation Idea Competition, which is an excellent space for young people to create solutions that lead to positive disruptions and change. In a time, in a world, in a place in history that needs everybody to pull together. So I commend the organizers of APYE that saw every challenge posed by our situation as opportunities for youthful ideas to thrive. Thank you, Urban Youth Academy, Hanyang University, UNDP, Keimong University, and the National University of Kaohsiung for continuing to invest in young people, the next generation's resilience and innovations. I also want to congratulate all 200 APYE participants. Thank you for continuing to believe in yourself and supporting the journey towards the global goals. History, I'm sure, will look back on 2020 as a pivotal year in many ways. But it's up to you to shape that pivot and strive forward towards a new tomorrow. So in closing, I congratulate you all for participating in APYE, dreaming as we all are, to see an end to COVID-19, but for showing leadership to help other people and communities move forward to a better tomorrow, a better future for all, and for seeing new norms across Asia and the Pacific, journeying together towards the 2030 global goals. ADB pledges to support young people on your journey towards a prosperous, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable Asia and the Pacific, a region free of extreme poverty. I wish you and the APYE organizers a very successful event. My one ask is that I do hope you will take your ideas, your solutions, and everything you learn in APYE home with you. Share these learnings with your youth peers, with the communities you live in, or perhaps virtually, online, so that those touched by APYE and your voices, your insights, and your actions continue to grow. Please stay safe and healthy on your journey to your own new tomorrow. And thank you very much for the opportunity to meet you all virtually today. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morris, for sharing the history of your partnership and your support for APYE, and such a positive and energizing message for all of our delegates today. We also really want to thank you for responding to our last minute request and gracing us with a live video. It was so good to see you. We wish we could have met you in person, just like you said, as well, but we hope to still work with zeal and work together in addressing issues with passion and energy to achieve the global goals and not passively wait for things to get better, just like you mentioned. Thank you once again. We are now delighted to have with us a message from our distinguished guest, the Honorable Digital Minister of Taiwan, Minister Audrey Tang, who is in charge of social innovation in Taiwan and is also known for revitalizing the computer languages Perl and Haskell, as well as building the online spreadsheet system EtherCalc in collaboration with Dan Bricklin. Minister Tang has been described as one of the 10 greats of Taiwanese computing personalities and has had a myriad of groundbreaking experiences in the public, private, and social sector. We're really honored to have her share her message with us today, and we would like to share the video with you.
Dear delegates of the Asia-Pacific Youth Exchange Program Online, good local time. I'm Audrey Tang, and I'm very delighted to be invited to take part in the opening of this great event and deliver some opening remarks for you. First of all, I want to congratulate all of you to be selected in this program, and I'm really happy to see that so many young people are motivated to attend this online program despite the impact of the global pandemic, the COVID-19, to many parts of the world. You might have already noticed how COVID-19 has caused a lot of impact to our countries, cities, and communities. Even though many activities around the world are postponed, yet the 2030 Global Goals of Sustainable Development is not postponed. Thus, we are all here to continue making efforts and make an impact toward a sustainable future. On the path to achieve a sustainable future, social innovation is a very important part, is an ingredient of the sustainable future. This is also why the theme of this year is called the Social Innovation Models for a Better World in a Post-COVID-19 Era. Amid the global pandemic, measures such as social distancing, taken in many countries have pushed people to make use of online and digital tools much more frequently. So under this context, accessibility, transparency, open inclusion, all these have become much more important global focuses in terms of the channel, the openness, and the usage of information. So under this theme of the program this year, in order to come up with the social innovation models for the better world in the post-COVID-19 era, youth of diverse backgrounds will have to work together. We will need your help to engage with your neighborhoods, your communities, and find out how your local governments can take an active role in improving everybody's livelihood and ensure accessibility of all stakeholders to engage. Also, while you're working together, you also need to work with people of very different cultures, of different localities, different disciplines, and so on, and share knowledge and experience as global citizens. This transparent process and communication is as important as the solution that we deliver. You may also use open data, open API as reliable evidence to create your own social innovation models. Last but not the least, remember that we're all here to make the world better, and each of you is indispensable. From now on, imagine a better world you'd like to live in and start to think about what challenge you'll face and how you're going to overcome them. Enjoy the opportunity to work with youth from various countries, and good luck with the presentation. Live long and prosper.
Sorry, just totally forgot to unmute myself. We congratulate Minister Tang and thank her for her congratulatory note for all of our delegates and a strong message for young people to work towards attaining sustainable development goals and the importance of social innovation in reaching them. We are privileged now to have with us today two highly distinguished guests delivering the keynote speech and message with us. I would first like to invite Dr. Hongju Ham, the Deputy Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission of the Asia and the Pacific, commonly known as UN-ESCAP, with us. Dr. Hongju Ham joined ESCAP in January 2016 as the Deputy Executive Secretary for Programs. Prior, he worked at the World Bank in various positions. Dr. Ham worked at Goldman Sachs LLC as the global head for central banks, official institutions, and sovereign wealth funds for 5 years. He has also worked at the Asian Development Bank, the Korea Development Institute, and taught economics at New York University, Queens College, and City University of New York. Dr. Ham has an MPhil from London School of Economics, a PhD from New York University, an executive MBA from Harvard Business School, and a diploma from Cambridge University Program for Sustainable Development, among other academic achievements. He also graduated from Korea's 3rd Military Academy and was commissioned as an officer in the Korean Army. We are very honored to have you with us, sir, and would like to invite you to address the delegates of this event.
Thank you very much. I think I need to start my video. Thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me, and thank you, Sean, for the moderation. I thank my previous speakers and the highlighting of the issues of sustainable development that we all face. I'm really honored to be a part of this Asia Pacific Youth Exchange program, and most of all, I'm really pleased to be a part of amongst the youth participants all over the Asia Pacific region. I want to talk very briefly about what the biggest challenges we face as humanity is for the 21st century. This is a question that we grappled with for quite some time already, and as the previous speakers noted, we came up with a global consensus. It took more than 10 years to identify and agree, but in 2015, we came up with the Climate Change Paris Accord and the Sustainable Development Goals for our planet. These are the clear challenge that we face for humanity, for our planet, that we must overcome. This was signed by almost every single nation that are member states of the United Nations. So while we have identified what is the key challenge that we face, why we need to address this, the details on how we address this is still unclear. When we look over the past 5 years since the Sustainable Development Goals has been identified, agreed upon, and signed, we have seen uneven progress. In the Asia Pacific, we've seen quite good progress on most of the economic fronts, on economic growth, on GDP, etc. We have seen remarkable progress on the social development fronts, which is education, health, maternity, water sanitation indicators, etc., etc. But within the environment and within the social, we see two areas that we are doing very poorly. One is on consumption and production, and the other on social is on inequality. On the environmental pillar, we have done across the board poorly, whether it's land, life on land, life below water, air pollution, climate change related factors. The Asia Pacific region has shown very poor results. So in that setting comes COVID. And this is like nothing we've seen before. It's not just an external shock that has affected our supply system, but it has tremendously affected aggregate demand as well. Both aggregate supply and aggregate demand impacted simultaneously by COVID. What we have seen is the planet breathing a sigh of relief, we are told, when it comes to environmental, wildlife factors, and COVID is viewed positively in that respect. Now, post-lockdown, we are all talking about how we grow out of this. Should it be a V growth? Should it be a U growth? How much government support do we give our corporations? I fundamentally ask all of you that this is more than a question about economic growth and recovery post-COVID. What we should be asking ourselves is how do we recover addressing the two main areas we have done poorly? The three: consumption and production, inequality, and almost all fronts on the environment. How can we grow out of COVID in a much more greener and much more equitable manner? That is really the question that we see. This question has to be answered with innovation. And these questions cannot be simply asked in the economic, social, or environmental context. It has to be answered in an interconnected manner. When we talk about growth, when we talk about corporate growth, we cannot continue to push the consumption production model that shoots for profit maximization and production maximization. I don't think our planet can take it. What's the alternative to profit maximization? And this is a serious polemic that we face. We now talk of purpose maximization, but yet its foundations are unclear. We are seeing the biggest government interventions in the world since forever. Governments are intervening in massive ways, usually to support the economy through corporate support. But government support in the future should focus much, much more on equality, not just on wealth. These must evolve around social protection related issues, which the Asia Pacific region lacks. But really look at the people that are vulnerable, most vulnerable: migrants, immigrants. people that are different ethnically, religiously than the host. And all of these must be done with a very environmentally conscious approach, especially vis-a-vis our climate. It's a very difficult polemic. What we have seen in this COVID lockdown is a massive use of digital technology that augurs well for our future. What I like to say in sum is we know what is the 21st challenge that humanity faces. We're almost in consensus on why we need to do something about it. Climate change and the SDGs. What we are struggling with is how. How do we tackle the issue of consumption production? How do we tackle the issue of rising inequality that we are seeing throughout the Asia Pacific and indeed the global community? Inequality that manifests itself in the Black Lives Matter movement in the West, but equally so in the Asia Pacific region. How we can develop innovations that can create a more sustainable future. That is a question that we ask youth, because my generation, I think, have failed in many regards. While we have brought up incomes and living standards, we have not done well on the inequality and especially on the environment. How we address those requires innovations, it requires vision, and it requires leadership. And I think that really now has to come from youth leaders like yourselves and through these type of exchanges. And I hope that we can have many, many more such interactions so that we find solutions to these burning questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Han, for your time and presence here with us today. Your knowledge and experience, along with your message on us working towards creating sustainable, positive change, is inspiring. And we would definitely like to thank you for sharing the progress that we've been able to make in the past, as it helps us to look at how far we've been able to come with global partnerships and collaboration and passion towards social progress, economic growth, and environmental protection. And it also makes us realize how long and how far we still have to go as our role as young people in the movement. You've definitely given us focus areas to reflect upon individually and as communities, with keeping the issues of consumption and production, inequality, and environmental protection at the center of the change we want to create towards a more equitable and equal world. We thank you so much once again for being here with us today. For the final keynote speech, we are deeply honored and privileged to have a message from the Honorable Vice President of the Philippines. Vice President Maria Leonor Gerona Robredo is an alternative lawyer and public servant and is the 14th Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. After years of working with the poor and the marginalized, teaching the less fortunate about their rights under the law, Lenny, as she is popularly known, emerged into national consciousness following the loss of her husband, longtime Naga City Mayor and Interior Secretary Jesse Robredo. Called upon to carry his legacy of good governance, she stepped into the political arena in 2013 when she won as representative of the 3rd District of Camarines Sur. Believing in the power of collaboration and faith in the people, Vice President Lenny vows to keep working to help her fellow Filipinos, especially those in the fringes of society. We would now like to share her video message with you all today.
to Dr. Hong Joo Ham, Deputy Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, to Dr. Jae Yul Nam, Vice President of Kim Young University, to all the guests present, to our beloved partners from the Urban Youth Academy and Hanyang University, and most of all, to the participants of the first Asia-Pacific Youth Exchange Online and Global Social Innovation Idea Competition. Congratulations in advance. I know that this is supposed to be a competitive affair, and at the end of the day, there will be winners and losers. But I have always believed that the best innovations are never done in isolation. Our own partnerships with the Urban Youth Academy and Hanyang University stand as testaments to this. I still remember my visit to Korea in 2018 during the second Asia-Pacific Youth Exchange. A year before that, in 2017, we signed a partnership with Hanyang University. That agreement began an exchange of ideas that touch lives to this day. To offer some examples, thanks to a grant of 1 million Korean won, a youth orchestra for our out-of-school youth in the Philippines was established in the city of Lipa, Batangas. This orchestra gives music therapy that aids in mental health. Just last year, a group of students from Hanyang University helped stay-at-home mothers in my own hometown of Naga in Camarines Sur by putting up a store which sells Korean food products at a local university. Likewise, in Central Luzon, we managed to provide a water system for agriculture to a town called Doña Remedios Trinidad in the province of Bulacan. I could go on with many more such examples. These are just some of the things that could only have been possible through our partnership with Hanyang University and the Urban Youth Academy. I am sure that you have identified challenges in your own communities that you would like to help address. This competition is meant to bring out the best ideas and the best attributes within all of us. As we all probably know by now, COVID-19 stands as humanity's greatest challenge in the immediate term. It has forced us to adapt, to reimagine, and to reinvent the way we live. I observe that from the experience of countries that have adapted best, social solidarity, cooperation, and effective delivery of services form the cornerstones of success and allow for a robust and resilient healthcare system. This is proof positive that the most effective way forward is not to shrink but to expand, to reach out and widen the circles of compassion. In doing so, we find more gaps to fill and pull together to find the best way to fill them. This lies at the heart of all innovation. It is looking for pains that need soothing, wounds that need healing, and lives that need uplifting. It is looking for those dark places where we can help people find light. This contest carries a number of interesting themes, all of them focused on the youth. This is apt because more often than not, the positive transformation of society begins with the young. The dynamism, energy, and sense of purpose fuel change. I invite you to go even further, to embrace causes and answer the call to fight social injustice, but also to offer your strength to others. Not only the young like yourselves, but also the old, the tired, the disaffected, and those who may think that they have little left to give. The times call for each of us to consider everyone as partners. All hands truly need to be on deck if humanity is to thrive and move forward to a better normal. The future belongs to all of us, and if we want a future where no one is left behind, where every life has a fighting chance, then we will need your help to show us the way. I still hope and work towards the day when cooperation is not simply a reaction to a mutual threat to our survival, but it is etched into the very fiber of how we build our world. Best of luck to all of you, and thank you very much.
We would really like to thank Vice President Lenny for her message and focusing on the challenge at hand, which is COVID-19. Like she rightly pointed out, it is important for us to go further beyond ourselves to create change in fields and sectors that we are passionate about, working in and in collaboration with the other delegates that we have in this program, and a spirit of learning, even though this is a competition. With this, we conclude this section of the program and the first half of the day. We now have a 10-minute break, and we request all the delegates to kindly be back on time in the next 10 minutes so that we are able to commence the program according to schedule. Thank you so much once again.
They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take your hand, my dear, and place them both in mine. You know you stopped me dead while I was passing by. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time. And oh my, I like your style. You make me wanna try. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. So they say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. I said, oh my God, I see you walking by. Take my hands, my dear, and look me in my eyes. Just like a monkey, I've been dancing my whole life. But you just beg to see me dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time. And oh my, I like your style. You make me wanna try. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. So they say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. They say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, 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 oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. Oh, oh, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. They say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, 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 oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again, all again.
처음에 널 알아보게 됐어. 서로를 불러 것처럼 내 혈관 속 뒤에 네가 말해줘 내가 찾아 헤매도 너라는 걸 우리 만남을 과거의 공식 Don't go where you born 우주의 선미 내게 주어진 운명의 신고 너는 내 꿈의 축소 Take it 너에게 내민 내 손은 정해진 숙명 걱정하지 말라 이 모든 건 우연이 아니니까 우리 완전 달라 baby 운명을 찾아낸 둘이니까 우주가 생긴 그날부터 계속 모아낸 세기를 넘어서 계속 우린 저 생에도 아마 평생에도 영원히 함께니까 이 모든 건 우연이 아니니까 운명을 찾아낸 둘이니까 I want it this love I want it real love 난 너에게만 집중해 좀 더 세게 날 이끄네 태초의 DNA가 널 원하는데 이건 필연이야 I love it 우리만이 true love it 그녀를 볼 때마다 소스라치게 놀라 신기하게 자꾸만 숨이 멎는 참 이상한 설마 이런 게 말로만 듣던 사랑이란 감정일까 애초부터 내 심장은 널 향해 두니까 걱정하지 말라 이 모든 건 우연이 아니니까 우리 완전 달라 baby 운명을 찾아낸 둘이니까 우주가 생긴 그날부터 계속 모아낸 세계를 넘어서 계속 우리 전생에도 아마 평생에도 영원히 함께니까 모든 건 우연이 아니니까 운명을 찾아낸 둘이니까 돌아보지 말라 운명을 찾아낸 우리니까 후회하지 마라 baby 영원히 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 함께니까 걱정하지 말라 모든 건 우연이 아니니까 우리 완전 달라 baby 운명을 찾아낸 둘이니까 우연이 아니니까 I know you'll remember me, and you know, I know, you know, I remember you, and I know, you know, I hope you remember how we danced, how we danced, how we danced all night to the best song ever. We knew every line. Now I can't remember how it goes, but I know that I won't forget her. 'Cause we danced all night to the best song ever. We danced all night to the best song ever. We knew every line. Now I can't remember how it goes, but I know that I won't forget her. We danced all night to the best song ever. Best song ever. It was your best song ever. It was your best song ever. It was
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of today. I would request that everyone, if you're moving around, please settle down and we will begin our upcoming session in the next minute. So we'll just wait for 1 minute and then we will begin. So please settle down in the coming minute. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining back in time. We are really excited to commence the second half of today. We have two really great panels taking place now in the coming hours. And let me tell you a little bit about our first panel of the day. Our first panel has brought together 4 youth changemakers from across the Asian region. This panel is about same paths, but different journeys. And now I will introduce you quickly to the panel as well as our moderator for today. First, we have Dr. Vikas Tanoli, the co-founder of Lunar Project's C&W department from KPK, Pakistan. We also have Ms. Alaneri from India, the founder of Rochun Pay It Forward. We have Ms. Elfie, the founder and CEO of LV's Affordable Fresh and Healthy, but I would really like all the delegates to note she's not joined us till now, but if she does in the middle, we will reintroduce her. And we have Ms. Maria Pelosis, who is the country director of ASEAN Youth Cambodia. Moderating this panel, we have Mr. Dinlong Pham. Mr. Dinlong is a youth social entrepreneurship and innovation specialist, Youth Collab UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub. And he is a proud French-born Vietnamese supporting youth to achieve greater impact. He is currently working with young social entrepreneurs and community builders across Asia Pacific through Youth Collab, where he is leading the Movers program, which aims to develop resilient youth-led communities for the SDGs. Handing it over to Dinlong.
Thank you, Shan, so much for the beautiful introduction and moderation this morning. I mean, earlier, it's still the morning because I'm in Paris, so it's 9 a.m. I know that Alinari is also in the UK. So yeah, everyone, it's going to be a very awesome panel. It's going to be super inspiring. And just wanted to introduce a few words of what we want to achieve through the next hour. Basically, this panel is for you guys, for everyone attending. And we wanted to share the voice and story and journey of Maria, Alinari, and Wakas, who have been impacting their communities like for a very long time and in many different ways. And that's why we call it same path but different journeys, because they are all, you know, aspiring to have an impact in their community, but do it in a different way. But in the end, you know, it's what makes them different, it's what is super inspiring, and it's what we're going to dive deeper today. So enough talking about me, but before, I just wanted to sense the energy in the room. So we have 114 attendees. So we've been having a break, we've been having sessions until now. So just wanted to sense, okay, everyone, how do you feel now? Can you comment in the chat box one word about your current feeling? Are you excited? Like me or Alinary, do you need a coffee to kickstart the day? Are you happy? Are you inspired from what just happened? So in my case, I have an awesome strawberry juice, so I'm happy. So, okay, we have honored, sleepy, obviously happy. Okay, Yujung, we are so excited, inspired. So, okay, so we have a lot of energy in the room. That's great. You will be even more excited throughout the next hour. Half awake. Okay, great. Cool. I think we also, while you were sharing your feeling, we also had Elfie joining us. So that's great. So we are now 5. And yeah, we'll just kickstart now. So my first question is a very easy question, but can you guys introduce yourself and a bit of what you're doing now to impact your community? And yeah, if you can answer in 2 or 3 minutes, that would be great. And maybe I will let Alinary start.
Hello everyone, my name is Elinary. I'm currently based in Oxford, United Kingdom, and I'm the founder of Rotund Paid Forward. So Rotund's 2 teams, and we have been a long-standing partner with Asia Pacific Youth Exchange. And aside from me doing social entrepreneur, I work at an IT company. We are based in Oxford, a small IT, so I'm a strategy manager there. I think that's all in a nutshell. Thank you very much. And I'm from India, so Mizoram, which is the northeast of India.
Cool. And would you like to explain a bit more what Pay It Forward is doing?
So Rotund Pay It Forward, essentially Rotund is heritage. So what a parents could pass it to me, so say instead of a bank full of money or a house or a car, what my parent pass it on to me is to be a good human being, a good citizenship of the world. And because I'm from a tribe, so as you look, I do look very much like Indian, right? So you would guess, okay, how could you be India? So this is the question that I've been asked everywhere I go. So we are a tribe based in the northeast of India, and we have a history where each of the tribe, we have gone through a lot of war, first with the colonizations and then to the war with Indian. But fast forward, what really important in my case, what has been passed down to me from my generations and my parents is, what do I provide? What do I give it forward? What do I heritage for the community, for the people, the flora and the fauna? And nowadays, every time when I think about it, I don't have necessary money to give it forward or fund the whole big thing. But what I do know is that as I travel around the world and participate in a big D, a small D, conferences, going to Oxford, Harvard, different places, I realized that what I can do forward is not about money or a car or a house, but I can give forward the information, the knowledge I know, how to secure funding, how to get to conference, how to provide platform, and essentially the resource, the care, and provide the platform so that other youth can do what I do and even achieve much more. So we have 2 components. One is we build library. We have currently 11 library, and each of the library has books and laptop. And I wanted to build library to all the schools in Mizoram, because not even 5% has libraries. And on the side of that, we do consultation. So every weekend I talk to youth 10 to 20 a day. And now I have mentored about more than 100. And we also being a long-standing partner with APYE. I started off back in 2017 in Bangkok, and I have been providing and helping other students to join. So we've been in South Korea, we've been in Thailand twice, and so that's about it. And this is the constant consultations that it goes on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elinori. I hope that you can also share this heritage with all our audience today. And also, many people ask me, are you really from France, all the time? So I can feel you. Great. Next, I would like to ask you, Wakas, who are you? What are you doing? How are you impacting your community?
Hello, everyone. I'm Wakas. I'm from Pakistan. I graduated from Hanyang University, South Korea. Last year, I have got my PhD degree in engineering. I was on Higher Education Commission scholarship from the government of Pakistan, as I was already working in Pakistan since 2011 with the government of Pakistan in Communication and Works Department, which is basically responsible to look after all the construction activities which are going on, funded by the government, which can be hospitals, schools, colleges, roads, any infrastructure which is being built by the funding of the government of Pakistan. We are responsible to look after that and monitor the construction activities and all those things. Regarding my Project Luna, I was also a co-founder of the Project Luna, which was initially created in the APYE in July 2018 in Philippines. I was a delegate in APYE where we have created this project Luna. Luna means light up the nation. We have made this abbreviation from the light up the nation to the Luna. What we did in the communities of the Philippines was basically to motivate and educate the local communities how they can use their electricity more efficiently. And we also taught them how they can make their own solar street lights or the solar lights which they can use for their households and also for the streets. And we have done this project last year in Philippines in Tulay Bohangin, Quezon community. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Wakas. I think it's a great inspiration for all the APYE audience today that you actually started during APYE and that you are still doing it a few years later. So that's great. We'll discuss more about it a bit after. But now I would like to ask Maria, who are you? What is the impact you are having currently that you want to have? Yeah, over to you, Maria.
Thank you so much, Dinlong, and I'd like to say hi to everyone. I'm very grateful to be here today and to be inspiring youths like you. So my name is Maria. I am a Filipino living in Cambodia. I am a teacher by profession, and I am the country representative of a same youth organization. So my role in a same youth organization here in Cambodia is to empower the youth and to help them optimize their skills and their capabilities to be the best youths that they could be as locals. At the same time, I would like to work with them to inspire them and to help them be the best Cambodians and ASEAN youths that they could be. And for us to work together through diversity. And our team is also promoting sustainable development goals through the Movers program. And with the individual skills that our team has, we plan to approach different issues in the community and society, such as education, poverty, gender equality, and hopefully through the differences that we have, we can come up with a unified plan and method on how we can actually make a difference and impact on the community. So that's what we're doing.
Thank you so much, Maria. Love that you are promoting the SDGs from with ASEAN youth, obviously, and yeah, and that you're also, as you said, trying to support youth to become the best version of themselves. So hopefully we can send that today as well. And next, I would like to ask Elfie or Rosalia. You can call her both. So yeah, Elfie, who are you and how are you currently supporting and impacting your community?
Hi Ding Long. Can I just have a recorded because I'm not in good space to video. Is that okay?
Yes, no problem.
Okay, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm grateful for this conference. So I'm Rojale Elvi Madiana Jetipade. You may call me Elvi. I'm 24 years old, and I'm from Timor-Leste, East Timor, which is a small town, a small country between Indonesia and Australia. So I'm the general director of the Elvis Fruit Salad. Currently, the COVID-19 pandemic slowed down everything, so including our venture. What we are doing right now is to look for a lot more for fruit suppliers and to expand the business. Besides that, we are also promoting the shop through the Facebook page, which we have new followers last 2 months, which is we got 1,000 people that follow our Facebook page, and we put up our brochure on the universities announcement board. Like we also renovate the shop to attract a lot more customers, like create new menu and let our clients spread information about the shop to other possible clients. We are doing this initiative to ensure the consumption of nutritious food and to buy from our local suppliers. I think that's a small, short description from me. So I
Thank
hope
you so much,
you guys
Elfie.
can hear that very well.
Yes, we could hear it perfectly. Thank you for sharing your current challenge, but also how you're trying to, continue your activities even though through the COVID situation. Hope that it can inspire our entrepreneurs in the audience as well. So yeah, coming back to Wakas, I wanted to dive deeper a bit, maybe on, because you just completed your PhD with like the highest mark possible. You work for the government. You also co-founded a startup during APYE. I think you're also visiting professor. I think you're like you're like doing so many things. And yeah, I just wanted to ask you. So you started Project Luna during APYE Philippines. So yeah, I wanted to come back on how did it start, because I knew that you visited community. So wanted to know more about a bit the journey of Project Luna. How did it start, and how did you decide to continue your journey with Project Luna, knowing that you have all these activities in parallel as well?
Okay, thank you for asking. It's a long journey and a long story. I will try to make it short. Basically, it was started in July 2018. I was selected for a scholarship, DK Kim scholarship, to participate in the APYE, which was being offered by the Social Innovation Center of the Hanyang University. I participated there in APYE, and it was a really, really great experience for me to go to the community and to the local immersion sites. And at that point, I realized the problems which the world communities are being facing, for them, from poverty to health issues, from sanitation to education. All these issues I realized during my local immersion phase of the APYE, because we stayed there for 3 or 4 nights in the community, in their houses, how they live their life. So putting yourself in their shoes, that was the purpose of the local immersion, which made me realize that how blessed we are and what we have the capabilities which we can utilize and give back to these people who need our help in these conditions. And there we founded this Project Luna. Basically, we were assigned with the SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, on which we worked. So we came up with a solution for the community, because they don't have the on-grid electricity connection in Tolai Bohangin, the community which we visited. Our LCL was Densi. He was a really great guy who helped us made this project come into a reality. I think he's also a participant in here in this competition. So we made a two-phase solution for the community problem. First was that we should motivate and educate the local communities how they can use the electricity efficiently. For example, they should not use it on watching TV or movies or other stuff and utilize their so that their electricity bill will be higher. But they can use it for making some food, storing that food, and then they can sell that food to the other community. So the first phase was basically how to educate and motivate the local communities. The second phase was installation of the solar street lights in the community, because in the whole community there was no street light, and they were afraid to go out at night. So we have planned that way. So later on, after the APYE, when we presented our project in the Asian Development Bank at the final symposium of the APYE, later on there was a 17 Hertz festival in the Hanyang University, which happens every year. So we have presented our project there. I have made a new team in which I have one old member from the APYE delegate, Jiyun, and the other 4 PhD guys who are also from Pakistan. So we made a plan and presented our project in the 17 Hertz festival, and we were nominated to get the funding to do it as a volunteer program. So in the first phase, in January 2019, we went to the community, and we have conducted workshops and seminars, which was really appreciated by the local community. We have also partnered with the Team Energy Foundation of the Philippines, and also definitely the APYE and Urban Youth Academy. There were many people who have really supported us during this journey, especially Mr. Hyungmin Kim, Mr. Saw of the Social Innovation Center, and Zahin. She made this project in a way. She motivated us and she guided us that how we can go further in this. So all these people were a really great inspiration for us. So the first phase of educating and motivating the community through workshops and seminars we conducted in January 2019. And the second phase we have implemented in July 2019, in which we have practically installed the 70 solar street lights in the community. We have taught the local community how they can make these solar lights by their own self, how they can make a business out of that. And yeah, so we have completed our project in July 2019 by implementing the second phase also in that community. And we're also partnering with the Team Energy Foundation and the other organizations to make it further, so that we can also implement it in the other communities of the Philippines and all around the world.
Thank you so much, Wakas. It's great to see that you carried on with your project after APYE, even though you had to form a new team of PhD students. So it's quite a badass team, actually. And yeah, super nice that you recognize and are grateful of the people who helped you along the way, including Mr. Kim, who is here today. So I'm sure he was touched. And also Zahin, which is in my team now, actually, in the UNDP Youth Collab. And she will also be involved in this APYE. So hope that she can inspire and help more projects. And so still in the similar question, wanted to ask you, Alinari. So you mentioned you were like from this remote community, which is, if I'm not wrong, a tribal community, right? And wanted to know how to what extent did coming from this background community shaped your personal journey, but also your journey with Rotun Pay It Forward?
I think I'm gonna go back a little bit because the name Rotun kind of came from my dad. So back in 2015, when I graduated from Asian University for Women, I was an environmental science student, and I got a scholarship to go to the US. But unfortunately, my dad passed away in a very short period of time. So that was for me the biggest loss that I have encountered, because the whole time before was all I want was to make my dad proud, to go to, I literally graduate. I was about to embark onto something else, and he's gone. The reason why it's so painful was, as I said, the tribe, the war, the pain, the forgiveness thing that I just want my dad to be proud, and he's gone. So basically I was in a deep depression the whole 2016. In 2017, in January, I went back for the first time, I participated to APYE, and I was a Widow Rising Star. And because Widow and APYE because this is important, because it's not necessarily how it stemmed Rotun, but it is laying the foundation for Rotun to come out. So I need to give that credit to APYE. And we went to Mopyong, a learning center for that period. That was our at that time where we go for local immersion. And that center really taught me to be, I turned myself, because I used to be like fashion and all the things. Now I'm minimalist, all of lifestyle, everything has changed. And mainly because at that point we went there and they were so perfect in every way, like 7 years old know what's the plan is with the family name. They know how to plow, plant, harvest, eat, and do it in a very sustainable way. But they still have one problem, which was the plastic. And for our team, we were so into it, involved. I think Engi is also part of our team. So for us, instead of getting the prize, we actually really wanted to change. So after the APYE program was finished, in 3 months' time, we were able to help and support the entire center to turn into a plastic-free. So going back, and then I went back to Japan again for GSIIC program. I was leading the team. And then my team was a champion. And then people keep asking me, and I was at that time asked myself, because I've been to UN, I've been to different conferences, and all the time when I go and participate, what I do there is protest and anger. I was furious that I'm a woman, because a lot of the time people say, if you were a man, you could have done this and that and that. And being a tribe, growing up in one of the most backward region, even in my states, I'm next to the boundary with Myanmar, very underdeveloped in that regards. And before, it always used to be that I was waiting for, just like how they did it during the Enlightenment period, I was waiting for maybe a white guy or somebody or an UN or a World Bank to come intervene and help me. But then every time I keep going, I realize that because I know my community the best, I'm the best person to help them. So when I got back, there is a project with WeDo. It was to construct. They give competitions, and it needs to be a team. But I was just one rising star from Mizoram in the whole Northeast at that time. So I asked Maria, who was the WeDo founder, then can I still apply? And when they talk about constructions, a lot of the team were like women constructions, women, and for me, I choose a library. And the reason why I chose library was because growing up, as I said, even though we used to be tribe, we have everything, we lost everything in the war. And after the war met the school, for example, a 6 standard passing would teach primary. My high school teacher would barely speak English. And I was only able to afford a local medium because I was the youngest among the 5. And of course, my 2 brothers goes to the private, but I'm a woman, so I'm a girl. So I go to local medium, which is the lowest of the low. It was quite and fun in a way, but most of the time learning, it was necessarily there. We were just playing. There was no bedtime reading. And what I learned the big gap, that the things that I missed the most was the resource, not having a book. Because by the time when I got the book, it was already torn down from like 5 siblings passing down to me. There's no cursive writing and whatsoever. So, and then when I did I was quite lucky. I was good in school, so I learned science. I went to one of the best universities in the world at Bangladesh, and then being able to go from one place to another. And then what I realized, that the moment I was able to access good resource, library, good professor, down to a professor, I realized that I'm not actually that stupid, nor not better or not equal. Actually, we are smart, we are born with it. And not only that we are born with it, because when, say, someone from Oxford here who have never been understanding the developing countries or the problem, they would say, I understand this perspective according to this article or a book. I can say according to the article and book and my experience. And then, of course, we are more persuasive and our understanding of the problem is much more deeper. So when I started building the library, so I was the final winner. I got a 10 US grant. I built one library. I said, okay, that's one project, that's enough in my school. But then I started doing more studies, and I realized, as I said, just alone, we have about 650 high school, not even 5% has the library. Primary, even university, even some of the college do not have one. And because it's like here, for example, in the UK, if you talk about university, library comes with it. It's a component, it has to, it's a must thing. But when we do not have that, we are lacking of it. So when so even in that time, I was still not sure. So I applied for a master here in Oxford and Sussex for development studies, because I really want to do development studies. I had a minor in development studies. And I also applied a few courses. I got accepted to all of them. And one of the courses was MBA, and it came with full scholarship. So I was like, MBA is so expensive, it's come with full scholarship, I might as well go. But the reason why I go there was then I now know that there's so much money in the world, there's so much resource in the world. And if I wanted to build more library and I don't have money, how do I know about it? How do I do about it? So I essentially came to do an MBA so that I can build more libraries. And I was kind of forced to build more. It's not that I want to build the Rotun, but I was kind of push in order to, so that I can build more library. And the name Rotun came with my dad. So since I've lost my dad and I've mourned him for a year, at some point I started to celebrate. Instead of being angry with God or losing or grieving, I celebrate my dad, and I start leaving all the teaching, the wisdom. So all of this philosophy, give it, pay it forward. I might not have money to give you back. I can actually give it for whatever I have in any stage of life. So, but it was very difficult in a way, because when I did my MBA in Sussex, all they want was something to make profit. But I said, I'm not planning to make any profit. My business model is minimal money, but I wanted to collaborate with schools, and also not because I was already convinced at APYE then with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, responsible consumption and production. I don't want to create more waste. So all the laptop are an old laptop. We sanitize, we install educational software, and they goes to them. And also when it comes to book, I don't want to buy a new book. I collaborate with Book 8 International, and they provide all the brand new book, and all the laptop come from Book 8 International, from LabDo. So it's essentially is, how do we navigate resource? How do we channel resource in a way that is sustainable? We are not producing more CO2. We are actually harnessing, reusing the resource. So the whole model of that come about in that way. But there was a challenge, because as I say, it's not to make money. So every venture that I go, every competition that I go, they don't like it. They say, there's no money, there's no profit, there's no revenue. You're not going to make it. It's never going to make it. So I say, I'm going to prove you wrong. So when I did my MBA, every week, every month, I go to university. I've been to Oxford like 3-4 times speaking about it. And I also got admitted here. So I was like, I should have been here, because they might have even helped. But actually, at the end of the day, the whole world, when you are launching something, when you wanted to make it right, or at least to prove the concept, no one is there to help. And they only come later when you prove them that you can do it. So while doing my MBA, I was able to extend one library into about 7 libraries. And I've been back to India 3 times during that, and I would just literally smuggle in laptops, like 5 laptops with me, and then collecting books. And then once we are able to expand from like 7 to like 10, and at the same time mentoring as many students as we can. So it has been 2017, now it's almost 4 years now. The impact that I create, the impact that it has to one person at a time, it's massive. And I think it's only possible because of resilience and persistence. And I think I'm quite grateful first to Widu, APYE, my support system, my mentor, who say that even though all the funding and other arena tell me that culinary it's not profitable, it's not gonna last, it's not sustainable, not to listen those people, and believing in that I can still make a change. Also, when I mentor, I don't want to mentor too many people. I mentor one at a time. So I think that the essence of that make it to where it is today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alinuri, for summarizing your journey. I'm sure you can speak about it for for hours, but I think we all feel your energy, and so many people in the chat are like super inspired. So thank you so much. Yeah, coming back to Maria, I wanted to ask you, because I know a bit about your life, Maria. I know that before you told me you had different lives. So you worked in academia, you're a teacher by profession, but you work in hospitality, in leisure, in travel, in tourism, in so many things as well. But now you are leading SNU Cambodia. Now you are teaching as well in Cambodia. So just wanted to understand, can you share with us what did all this experience bring you and shape what you are doing today?
Okay, thank you very much, Denlo. So my journey is kind of different from maybe a lot of youths out there, and I want to commend you guys because you are really doing great. And for me, I started to become a breadwinner.
The mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I see.
Better. Yeah, so my journey started early as not as a change maker, but as a breadwinner for the family. So I started working overseas at a very young age, right after I finished my university days. And I worked overseas for 7 straight years without coming back home to the Philippines. And in those 7 years, I have worked in different industries, and I have met a lot of people from Asia and from different countries. And there's always one thing that tells every nationality apart, and that is the standard of living. How much money do you earn? And they are all categorized by the education that you have, by the experience that you have, and the skills that you have. And this may not be true to everyone, but this is just based on my experience. As a youth from Southeast Asia, I have seen and I have experienced that people from our region, when they go overseas, they're not really looked down, but they don't have the best jobs that these countries have to offer. We always start from the bottom. And usually we are the ones who work as domestic helpers, as blue-collar jobs. We are not given the white-collar jobs immediately unless we really have a high educational qualifications such as master's or PhD. But unless we have that, we will always start from the hardest job in the company, the one working the longest hours. And when I saw that and I experienced it myself, after coming back home to the Philippines, I said, how come that after 7 years, Philippines is still the same? And in the Middle East, we're still the same. Like those two countries, even though the structure and the difference in the geographical characteristics are different, the people are still living the same. There's always inequality wherever you go. You go to Middle East, you go to the Philippines, I go to Cambodia, there's still inequality, and they're all result of poverty. And poverty usually comes from lack of education, lack of opportunities, and lack of skills. And when I realized that, I told myself, I hope that in the next generation of my family or in other families, this will not be the same scenario anymore. So when I came here and I started teaching, I decided to pursue a career in ASEAN studies, an education in ASEAN studies, and there I started to learn more about the background of each Southeast Asian country. And by learning the cultural background and historical background, that helped me understand what are the reasons or what are the causes of poverty and lack of opportunities for us. And as an individual, I know my limitations and the limitations of my capacity as a person. So I thought to myself, I'm a bit of introvert in a way, so I don't usually connect with people or collaborate with people, but I have learned to collaborate because I have a goal in my mind to do. So that pushed me and that motivated me to participate in an event in Thailand last year through a same youth organization, bringing my skills from different industries and my different experiences together with the life experiences and the things that I have seen around me in my environment and the goal that I have in mind. So that's combining my past, the present, and the future all together. I decided to go out there and discover ways on how I could actually help. So when I participated with a senior organization conference last year in Thailand, I was fortunate to win one of the. I did a pitching and I won the economic enhancement category, and my project is called Culture. It's collaborative culture tourism. So I combined. I thought of improving skills and skills exchange through tourism in order to add capacity and skills training to people from different backgrounds. So those who we are not able to reach out, we can go there and reach them out. But since I am in Cambodia, I am not able to do it yet in my home country. But I had the opportunity and privilege to lead a team here through our local network, and with them, I am trying out the things that I've learned in a small way. The collaboration that I was hoping for, the project that I wanted to start, I am trying to start it with them. How are we going to collaborate as people from different backgrounds? How are we going to use the skills and experiences that we have to create an impact and to achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves and for our team? So little by little, I am learning how to collaborate. At the same time, since they are younger than me, I am learning from them as well. So we are like two different worlds meeting in the middle. And through that, we try to understand that in order for any project to work, we need to learn how to work together first. And I'm trying to stick to the collaboration part because that's how I got into this. I learned to collaborate, I learned to work with other people, and that's the same culture I am trying to impart to my team. We have big goals, but unless we learn how to collaborate, which I didn't learn a few years ago, I only learned it a few years back. I wish I did learn it a few years ago because maybe I have done other things, but I am just glad that I was able to learn it now. And I'm trying to apply it to our team. And we believe that through collaboration, whatever project that we have, we can do it together. And that's the same thing we're trying to impart with the people we are reaching out in local communities. We are teaching them, indirectly teaching them that if you guys work together as a community, you can do different things. You can do wonderful things. And it also begins the smaller unit in a community, which is a family. So it's like breaking it down from big to small. From a bigger group as from AYO, we're trying to break it down to the level of family. So if a family learns to collaborate and work with other families or other entities in the community, they will find ways to help themselves. If they need to educate themselves, they will find resources on how they can educate themselves. If they need resources to help them start a business or help them go out and find opportunities for education, then collaboration would be the key on doing that. And it's not always that this family would know how to collaborate. So that's how and where our team would come in. So we would come to the community and show people that this is how collaboration works. They may not learn it easily, but they will learn it slowly. And they would know that through collaboration, the idea of somebody will be there to help you out is already inspiring enough and already strengthening enough for you to take that first step in whatever goal you want to do. And that's how our team here is working, and that's how I started to be a part of all of this, which I am very grateful for. And I've realized that in all the volunteer activities that I've done a few years ago, it all started with the collaboration, with a successful collaboration. So all of them were successful because they collaborated correctly with the people who have the same interests and same goals. And I also believe that as youths, we should learn to collaborate more, and it works for us. So, and it worked for me, and that's how my journey started. And that's how my fear of working with other people and isolating myself broke. So when I started to trust people and believe that they will be people who are going to help me, I also started to share that feeling and experience with other people, and that's when they started to help and start working with me with the other things and the goals that we want to do, especially in helping eradicate poverty through quality education, skills training, and also for other SDG goals that we are working on. Yeah. SDG 17, I think, is one of the best partnerships and collaboration. And that's all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was sure that you were going to SDG 7. It's nice to see how everything connects, how your life connects the dots at some point. I don't see questions from the audience, so I will continue with Elfie.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I wanted to maybe understand a bit more because when I met you were speaking to me about stunting, about malnutrition rates in Timor-Leste, and that I wanted to know more why start Elfie's affordable, fresh and healthy. How did you get to know the issue? Yeah, how did you start? Why did you start all of this? I think you are mute, Elfie. I will unmute you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we.
Okay, so thanks for the questions. So after Timor-Leste's independence, Timorese have had less employment in the country, and I realized that the government may not employ all of us. And in my traveling to South Korea, like to attend a peace conference, I saw many fruit salad stalls along the streets. From the day on, I thought that I will start a fruit salad in Timor-Leste. Back then, I knew that Timor-Leste has organic and healthy fruits. So I start my, we start the fruit salad in March 2018. Then we set up the small shop for the fruit salad. And currently, the shop sells fruit salad local farmers, and our local farmers are they are the fruit suppliers. Like we buy directly from them, like mostly in rural area. Like we choose for municipality to have a partner with them because they grow like watermelon, banana, papaya, and so on. uh, in a way, the farmers can have a market for the fruits and increase their fruit production. And I really like local fruits because they are more organic and healthy. Because our agriculture in Timor, like in the main farmers that we are cooperate with them, they get the training from the USAID, the program of advanced agriculture. So they teach the agriculture how to grow like organic fruit. So we want to cooperate with them so to get the fruit supplier from them. So I think this is our journey, or how do we start and looking like for these problems. And yeah, finally we start this fruit salad shop. I think that's all from me.
Thank you so much, Elfie. Nice to
Yeah.
for the fruit salad. You have actually you for local agriculture, organic food, create jobs locally. For so many things in the fruit salad shop. So yeah, Korean fruit salad will be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, since we don't have questions from audience, I will add a question ahead of time. Well, I do a last round of questions. If you can answer in 1 or 2 sentences, that would be awesome. So I will start. Maybe I'll start with you again. You have
Sorry,
1 or 2.
Dimlang, 1 second. I'm not sure if someone is not on mute, but I personally can't hear you very clearly. I'm not sure about others. Can't hear you very clearly.
You cannot hear me?
Yeah, it's.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So I will ask the last round of question, and if you can answer in 1 or 2 sentences, that would be super helpful because we are approaching end of time. So first, Elfie, do you have like one advice that you would like to share maybe with all the APYE young people which are listening to us today and who are thinking about starting their projects? Like with your experience, what is one advice that you would like to share with them in 1 or 2 sentences? That would be awesome.
So my I like to take advice from like this is actually motivate me a lot. Like I would like to give advice through motivation word by Muhammad Yunus. It goes like people should wake up and say, I'm a job creator, not a job seeker. So what I want to say to youth like me in Asian and Pacific. So be confident and be as a leader in your own country, and keep strong and do something that you want to do it. Yeah, I think this is my short message.
Job create. So yeah, that's for you, Maria. Slightly different question. Which advice would you give to your 20 year?
Sorry, Dinlo.
Which advice would you give to yourself when you were 20 years old?
Okay. What advice I would give is that I'll take it from what Pablo Picasso said. So the meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away. So that's the advice that I'm going to give my younger self, and not to be scared of finding your gift and be brave in doing so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. So yeah, so to Wakas and Elinor, I have since you are both APYE alumni, what is one advice that you can give to our APYE participants today? And yeah, maybe we can start with you, Wakas.
So as I was also a delegate in APYE, I think any project you design or anything you do, never lose hope. Just work constantly on that. Work hard, you will get the reward sooner or later. Like it can never happen that you do something and you don't get reward. So this is one of the thing. And the same thing as Alfie said, that young people should think in different way, that they should not be job seekers, they should be the job creators. And the last thing, if I would say that if our young people, they do their bit, even do something that changes to a small or limited extent, that will help to achieve something. So just do something which can contribute positively to your society, everybody is a change maker. Even if you change your habits, even if you change your routines, which affect the other people, or even your roommate, you can be a change maker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wakas. Yes, over to you, Alinri.
Okay. I think in APYE context and the project that we are doing, I think what's important is not necessarily the star that bright constantly, but the star that lasts the longest. So you will come, each of you might not be necessarily a team leader, but what's so important is the resilience, how long you can stretch in actually make a real impact. So we would see a lot of great ideas, but not all the great ideas. So before APYE mission is to, of course, to be aware of what is the contents of sustainable development goals. But with COVID and with today, whatever idea you have, it needs to be realistic, feasible, applicable tomorrow. So in order to do that, it's not between today and tomorrow, it's going to be between next year or when we have our conference again. Will your story be features like yoga's? It really depends on how long the journey that you can last. And I think it's so important that do you really, really want to do what you want to do? And that, to the end of it, what Maria and others contribute is, I think it's so important that we find our purpose in life. If you can't find it, create one for yourself. And believe it and be in that niche and focus on that, because there's so much things going on around us. There's so many disruptions and distractions, and it's very difficult to be focused and not knowing what is happening, especially in a very uncertain times we are. If you don't know why you are here, you don't know why you survive all the the genes and being here today, it's a loss in itself. So knowing that you wake up today because I have a dream, I have a goal, I have a long visions, and today is a baby step. So being able to have that niche, I encourage every one of you to have either a purpose in life. If you don't find it one, create it, make it. So that's all my advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. From Kashif, he said you are a good speaker and he wants to listen to you more and more. So yeah, thank you so much, Maria, Wakas, Alinari, and Elfie. It was so great to speak to you today. And I have just one last request for all the attendees. Can you share, spread the love, say thank you to our speakers, and maybe share if something, touched you, affected you, inspired you, feel free to share in the chat. And I think it's time for a break before next panel. Thank you so much again. And I guess I'll pass it back to Shan, our awesome moderator.
Thank you so much, Tin Long. I hope I have unmuted. Thank you so much again to all the panelists. It's so great to have you all here and hear your stories of how APYE was able to change your perspective or help you start something. I think it's incredibly inspiring. So once again, Wakas, Alinari, Maria, and Elsie, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. I wish we had more time, but this is all that we had today. Now, just like Tin Long said, first of all, thank you, Tin Long, for moderating this amazing session. We have another great session coming up, but we have a break in the middle. We had a 10-minute break, but it would be great if you could come in a little earlier because I think we will be starting in another 5-6 minutes. So yeah, take that break, get some water, stretch yourselves, get a bathroom break, and we will see you soon again in the next 5 minutes. Bye.
Georgia Rose. And her daddy was a dentist. Said I had a dirty mouth. I got a dirty mouth. But she kissed me like she meant it. I said, can I take you home with me? She said, never in your wildest dreams. And we danced all night to the best song ever. We knew every line. Now I can't remember how it goes, but I know that I won't forget her. 'Cause we danced all night to the best song ever. I think it went oh, oh, oh. I think it went yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it goes oh. You know, I know, you know, I'll remember you, and I know, you know, I know you'll remember me, and you know, I know, you know, I remember you, and I know, you know, I hope you remember how we danced, how we danced, how we danced all night to the best song ever. We knew every line. Now I can't remember how it goes, but I know that I won't forget her. 'Cause we danced all night to the best song ever. We danced all night to the best song ever. We knew every line. Now I can't remember how it goes, but I know that I won't forget her. 'Cause we danced all night to the best song ever. I think it went oh, oh, oh. I think it went yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it goes best song ever. It was your best song ever. It was your best song ever. It was your best song ever.
Hey everyone, welcoming everyone back for our last panel for today. We will be beginning in 2 minutes. So if you're not at your desk yet or are doing something else, we would request you to please come back and settle down in the next 2 minutes. Hi everyone, welcome back. We are yet to go through with our last panel for today, and it is an exciting one at that. This panel is going to be about unleashing the power of youth for the SDGs, and we have some amazing panelists joining us today. Let me quickly introduce you to them. First, we have Mr. Shazib Khairul, who is the Islam Managing Director of YY Ventures. We also have with us Bonifacio Lopez, the Learning and Event Facilitator of UNDP Timor-Leste. We have Ashish Thakur, the founder and CEO of Global and Global Teen Hero. And we have with us Melanie Mossad, the Director of Venture Support for Impact Hub in Phnom Penh. Moderating this panel, we have with us Ms. Kaylin, or Linka as you know her, who is the youth consultant, youth social entrepreneurship and innovation consultant at UNDP, working on Youth Collab, an initiative co-led by UNDP and Citi, which empowers and invests in young people to accelerate the achievement of the SDGs. With this, I'm going to hand over to Linka, who will be moderating this session, and we welcome all the panelists.
Thank you so much, Sean. Can I have all my panelists come to the stage? So you just need to turn on your video and turn on your mic. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so before we start, I just want to invite all of my panelists to introduce themselves. So the way that we're going to do it is that we're going to ask them to move it from the south to the north. Okay, so we're starting from the person who sits in the very south of among all the panelists. So you can start by telling us where are you calling from. So let's have Boni from UNDP Timor-Leste to start to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Bonifacio Lopez. I am working together with the project of UNDP called Nua Juventude Fila Lima as a trainer and learning event facilitator. I'm calling from Dili, the capital of Timor-Leste. Very nice to meet you all, and hope you can enjoy the session.
Thank you. Okay, so we also have a lot of participants from Timor-Leste. So those who are in the call, you can say hello in Tatun to everyone in the chat box. All right, so let's move north. Let's move to Melanie.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Melanie. I am working at Impact Hub Phnom Penh in Cambodia. So I'm French, but I live in Cambodia for the past 5 years. Last week was my 5-year celebration. And so what I'm doing here is like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Impact Hub network, but we mostly run programs to support young entrepreneurs to kickstart their social impact-driven initiative. And we do a lot of like training also for universities in entrepreneurship, and also develop some like programs for youth who are like want to have a positive impact but don't know really where to start. And so I'm very happy to be here and to be also with this amazing panel. Thank you.
So much, Melanie. So yes, we also have a lot of participants from Cambodia. So those who are calling from Cambodia, please say hi to everyone in Khmer in the chat box. So let's move a bit north. Let's move to Shazid.
Hi guys, so my name is Shazib Muhammad Khairul Islam. I'm the Managing Director of YY Ventures. We are a collection of social business projects and companies. Once we say build, we have built Bangladesh's first incubation platform, YY Goshti. We have very recently started Impact Hub in Dhaka. And we have a water company called Shishir Water. Secondly, we run 4 accelerators every year and we support 40 entrepreneurs. Thirdly, we invest in social businesses. We have just started. We invested in a community tourism project and a water project. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome, Shazid. Yes, so we again, we have a lot of participants calling from Bangladesh. So please say hi in Bengali in the chat box to everyone. So let's move to a bit north to Ashish.
Thank you, Linka. This is Ashish Thakur. I run a company called Global Private Limited, which is majorly into different social youth, basically teenager development program that we have started in Nepal. And now we have been taking it to different South Asian countries. We are also into online learning for the very first time in Nepal. That's me, Ashish, from Nepal.
Oh, thank you so much. Welcome, Ashish. All right, so my name is Linka. You already know me, and I don't need to introduce further. I just want to share with you a lot of sunlight from Bangkok, and today the weather is very, very nice. So today with this panel, we have all the panelists. They are already evolving or level up to the step where they are not doing the innovation projects or running a social enterprises themselves directly, but they're more on the supporting and the guiding role. Because what I would say that we are all idealists with actions, because we all want to make the world a better place, but we also taking actions through entrepreneurship, through innovation, especially for those who participated in APYE with your projects, with your idea. So the first question I want to go to all the panel is that apart from, so built on what you just introduced of your organization and also about yourself, can you share a little bit further about how are you guiding the young people as a mentor, as a facilitator, as a lighthouse, while they are being idealistic with while taking actions? So let's maybe move from the east to the west. All right, so let me think. So I think from the east, okay, so we'll still have Timor as the first country to go.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so as I said, I'm currently working together with a project called Knua Juventude Filaliman. So from the name itself, if I translate it into English, it is called a village for youth entrepreneurships. So basically, the center is really focused on empowering youth to do their business and also grow their business. But apart from the business, we are also focusing on other skills. So as my role as a trainer and learning event facilitator, I am working together with my colleagues to plan and organize different events and training. So basically, first of all, we focus on entrepreneurship, and the concept we are focuses on social business, where we started with a social business camp for 4 to 5 days. And then we elaborate furthermore for the incubations and those who have patience, really patience with business they can develop and coach. But also apart from this social business camp, we also organize different events like business, we call it business networking events, where we invited professionals to come and connect and share their experience with the youth who have passion in business. As I said, we are focusing on social business, but not all the events that we do is more into business, because we realize that not every youth are passionate about business. Some of them are really wanted to do to find for jobs. So we have also organized different events and training sessions on employability skills, where we train youth, prepare them for the job markets. For the past 2 years, we have focusing on two important sectors, which is horticulture and also law. Specifically for law, those who are fresh graduate in law and horticulture, to come and develop and train, and then we connect them to companies for the internship program, with the best hope that the company can also hire them after the 3 to 4 months internships. Apart from this, our work also, together with my colleagues, we also focusing on leaderships, where this platform is basically we work together with other youth, because we have a lot of youth organizations in our country, East Timor, where they organize their own events and train other fellows youth who have passion in leaderships and communications. For instance, last year we partnered with TLDZ, Timor-Leste Debating Group. We organized the first national varsity English debating championship, where the platform is basically use the debating format of ASEAN parliamentary. Also, we provide training on innovations, where on a very basic, like any students, even if you are from a social science, you can still train to do coding, a very basic coding, and also design your own concept to tackle a problem or anything that you find it is challenging in community where you're trying to provide solutions. So basically, I think that's I am covering. But apart from this, we are also like organizing expo and night markets, where we invited the youth who have been in business to sell their products and continuously showcase their products to their customers and their potential buyers as well. I think there's a few things from me, and we can elaborate more if there's further questions. Thank you so much, Linka.
Yeah. Thank you. So yes, so social business, social employment skills, innovation, leadership, and expo. Yes, very, very diverse offering for young people. So let's move west. So if my geographic knowledge is legit, then I will go to Melanie. Think.
Yes, same. So yes, so I think for me, I will maybe give you a bit of context. So when we arrived in Cambodia 5 years ago, there were not really any program or any organization promoting social entrepreneurship. So I think in a context like this, we have to start with creating role models to identify, to inspire people to choose this career as an option. Because if you think that no one did it before, it's hard to relate, it's hard to actually have the inspiration to get started. So I would say it happened in 4 phases, like how we see the youth development of some of our participants. So first is about the inspirational part, where we create a platform where we share stories of role model. So through ever video, sharing the stories, interviews, inviting them to the schools, to the universities as guest speakers, making them actually famous, and giving them also credibility also in growing their business. So then this is now we did a survey recently, and we see a lot of Cambodian role models, so we're super happy about this impact. Then the second step is about connecting with like-minded people, because it's very important when you start in this kind of in industry. We say in the social innovation industry is really important to find like-minded people with who you can kickstart your own business. So creating the opportunity for them to get together, to find people who think like them. Because so we created like a lot of networking nights by industry where they first learn from a speaker, then have a lot of time to network and to meet other people. And also maybe like some hackathon of one day, or like just things to test out and meet other people. And then the third part is more like knowing your own strengths and knowing your own capabilities. So when you, before getting started in running your business, it's really important to understand what you care about, what the cause that you really want to work on, the problem you really want to solve. So it's important for them to have this more introspective journey. So we created a program also for this. And then finally, like let's say it's a pipeline like this, the ones who are very motivated, then we give them the right platform to kickstart their social business. So this, we usually have like business model validation program. So they come with an idea, and then after 2 months, they present their idea and they have a small prototype. And for the best teams, we give them like $3,000 to kickstart their own journey. And so far, this always have been like our goal also, to give some grant money to prototype some ideas, because this grant money is the hardest actually to get. Like this prototyping money is the hardest to get. So far we gave away like $350,000 to 51 startups, very early stage ones, and we have a 80% survival rate among them. So we can see this is also like a good way to kickstart a social impact project. So yeah, let's keep the funnel in mind. And this was really our approach to develop like the Cambodian social innovation ecosystem.
Well, thank you so much, Melanie. I always think that it's such a blessing for Cambodia ecosystem to have you, because you understand, first of all, you know, the positive impact of role model for young people to be able to relate themselves, to see the possibility that, you know, they can also take on this track, which is super important. And for this point, I would also like to encourage everyone to take a look at Impact Hub Phnom Penh's Facebook page. They have created such amazing content for young people to see, to raise the awareness of different social impact related stuff, and also a lot of cool projects. And also how you trying to create a warrior and risk-free as low as possible for young people to take initiative. So that's very amazing. All right, so I just I had a quick check on the map just to make sure I don't get it wrong. So the next one, to move a bit westward, we will actually go to Bangladesh.
Right.
So over to you, Shazib.
All right, so I think before I go in detail about the work that we do, I would like to talk from two perspectives. Like, let's say the first thing, for many of you already, like two of our speakers have mentioned about the concept of social business, and I know, Linka, you know a lot about the concept. But if you go back to the history of our country, you will see that, like, let's say, for many people in the world, there were many diplomats. They said Bangladesh is a bottomless basket. But like, let's say it's such a tiny piece of land and we have so many people. If I look outside from my house, I live in the second floor. The only thing that I see is people, right? So for many people, it's a burden. But for Bangladesh, I mean, like, I think we got lucky, or our people or our previous generations were very creative. They turned this human being into like assets. Right. So what happened is this country gave birth to, thanks to Professor Yunus, the microfinance movement. Grameen Bank won Nobel Peace Prize along with Professor Yunus. Sir Fazli Hassan Abadi founded BRAC, and then can you believe it? We have the world's largest NGO coming out of Bangladesh, and there are many such cases of social innovation, right? So like, let's say in the early 2000s, when many people talked about the Millennium Development Goals, Bangladesh was expected to be one of the least countries who would be achieving it. But we were one of the fastest ones to achieve all these goals, right? So this is one perspective. We brought down our poverty under 50% in that particular 10 years in the early 2000s. But that's not enough. We have still more than 12 to 13% people who live below poverty line.
40% of our like students who has some kind of education, they struggle to get a job. So, but like, let's say Professor Yunus gave us a beautiful insight. If you can create jobs, why do you have to look for a job? So this was the whole philosophy that we had without understanding anything about an incubation or an acceleration. I made a Facebook post. I said, okay, guys, let's try to do something, maybe create our own jobs or grow our own food or take care of our own water. So this was the beginning. But like, let's say that's like 6-7 years ago, 6-7 years, we have supported 43 entrepreneurs. They have created 1,200 plus jobs, improved the lives of 100,000 Bangladeshis. But like, let's say now we are meeting online in a pandemic. This is a time when we see in countries like us, we need a lot of investment in healthcare. We need to take care of our waste, which is everywhere in the streets. And we need to make sure that our people become independent, right? Not really dependent on a factory that cannot pay them, or not really dependent on a brand that decides to go south. Hey, we're not paying you guys. So where does all these people go? So for this, we want to create a world where every youth will walk their community's way out of poverty. And we have a 3-step process to do this. First up, we run incubation and acceleration programs. So these are sometimes industry focused. We help them with training, mentoring, a little bit of funding and office. Second step, like every year, maybe out of 20 or 40 startups, like let's say 1, 2, 3, or 4, they become investment ready. So this is for the first year, once we have decided to make some investments officially, but we have done investments in the past years too. And then last part is how do you bring in the ecosystem together, right? So it's social innovation cannot happen only when an entrepreneur tries to change it. It takes a village to literally change something. So we do a lot of stakeholder engagements with groups like UNDP, FAO, Netherlands Enterprise Agency, and a lot of corporates. And we have a bunch of activities going on, which says that, okay, step by step, we help our Bangladeshi people to thrive. This can be a farmland, this can be a farmhouse, this can be impact hub, this can be a water project, this can be anyone. We just want people to live at the best possible way where they're happy.
Right, thank you so much. Actually, in the previous panel, we have one of the panelists mentioned about Professor Yunus' a quote. Young people should not just rely on job created by other people. We ourselves can create our own job and give job opportunities to other young people. So yes, I also believe that Bangladesh is also a country blessed with the birth of Professor Yunus and also with Brack. Do you also want to share a bit about why your organization is called YY Ventures?
Yes, thank you so much. So I'll go a little back. So I started my first company in 2012 that failed. In 2013, this again failed. In 2014, I started another one which failed too. But people really started to invite me and talk to many people or speak in conferences. So I was in Germany. I was talking to a mentor of mine. He said, "Always, Shazib, what kind of Bangladesh you want?" I said, I'm yet to figure out what kind of Bangladesh I want, but I want to create a family. So family in Bengali, it's called Goshti. So that's how the first company was created, YY Goshti. It's our incubation center. So YY stands for Yunus plus you. So we want Professor Yunus and every young people who wants to build a social business, and we want them to clap together. So we make a lot of social business noise.
Super meaningful, yes. Okay, thank you so much, Shazib. So now let's move a bit westward. Let's go to Nepal.
Thanks, Linka. So Global basically looks into 3 different dimensions of helping everybody that we work with. The one major thing is we also try to find out the role models, and majorly speaking about one of our projects, which is Global Teen Hero. So they're 13 to 19 years old teenagers who are doing something incredible, something impactful in the society. We try to go and find out what they are doing, how they are doing, and what impact that they have created. The two reasons behind finding these kind of teenagers. One, of course, is to recognize what they have done, because at this early age of 13 to 19, generally people are like, okay, you should study, you should do these things, you should not do these things, but we do not try to consider the things that these people have been doing. We don't try to see the impact out of it. So we try to find out what impact that they have created, and then we are putting them together and awarding them in front of people. In Nepal, we telecast that live on television. We have different media buzzes going on for that, so that these people feel recognized and they feel motivated to do more. And the second reason behind doing all this is to make them a role model, that age is just a number and my work can prove it. Right? So that is where we are working. And with this, when we are proving all these things with showing these examples, these incredible examples of teenagers, 13 to 19 years old, we also try to show it to the younger adults, the older adults, showing them that if these teenagers can do that, age is just a number for them, why not for all other people of elder generations or generations below, or any generation, age really doesn't matter, can do things. And for doing that, you need skills. So we work on skills, and there we have Global After School, which works on skills, where we put forward different employability skills, different vocational skills, technical skills to people of different age groups. We work with schools, we work with colleges, and we also work with corporates for providing them skill refurbishments, skill developments, and all those things. And we partner with different institutions for this. So we do this, and then we work with different corporate houses and organizations such as UN organizations and different embassies to provide these kind of training as a CSR. So we also work as a CSR consulting organization in Nepal, where we provide them an opportunity to put their CSR funds for developing the young people, but through skills. So we do not give any cash prize or anything as such for general competitions that we do. It is majorly to put forward them in a place that, okay, you have done this and we are showing it to the world. And it's their job now to network, to communicate individually with different people, because we do bring all the stakeholders of the community to that platform. And then it's their responsibility, it's their energy that they go and talk to these people, they go and negotiate. We can facilitate that, but they go and talk to them. It's being independent, they go and talk to them, and then finalize on the certain funds or certain development, mentorship, and a lot of things. We provide them an opportunity and they need to grab it. So that is how we have been working in Nepal since 2015. So basically all these things also started with the feeling of like teenagers. When I started this company, I was myself leaving teenage 5-6 years back in 2014. So there is something that I felt that these things should be done, and the whole team that I have was in teenage at that time, and now we have learned and moved ahead. So as per our system, and the thing that we try to put forward to young people is basically about, you need to learn by doing, and you can't be perfect on everything. There is a lot of things that you cannot just be perfect about. There is a lot of times you need to move ahead, you need to fail, like just Sajeev mentioned very well on saying that he started different ventures, it failed. I started different ventures and it failed. Everybody who starts something, sometimes or the other fails, but that failure gives an experience out of which you can create a lot of different activities, you can create a lot of different impacts. And the whole point of doing anything is just to create that experience, learn from it, and move ahead. So that is the whole philosophy that we move around. We basically work on the youth development, skill development, and then we work with corporates in doing all these things. We work with organizations in making all these things happen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashish. So I think, so for us, we also think that Gloco is a fantastic platform to engage teenagers. And I also highly encourage for those who has younger brothers and sisters, you can ask them to check out all the activities by Gloco. It's really, we met a lot of very awesome and inspiring teenagers from Gloco Network. So I think also what Ashish mentioned actually sums up a lot of key points from all the panelists here. And also, so I think compare with all the participants of APYE, we all move from the stage we were the actor on the stage into the person who create the stage for other younger generation who can perform on the stage right now. So, so with that in mind, and also I want to encourage all the participants, feel free to share your feedback, your comment or your question in the Q&A session or in the chat box. So my next question is that while we are interacting with young people in a daily basis, most of them, are innovators, change makers, want to create positive impact, taking actions. One thing that is, I would say, quite universal is sometimes I would say it's the loneliness of thinking that we are the only person who face this kind of challenge. So I think it's really important for us to share those challenges, and if you can, maybe some of the solutions that you were amazed from those young people. So some challenges that common challenges from young people that you've interacted with, and if you can think of some of the amazing solution that how they solve those challenges from it, that would be fantastic. So for this time, let's move from the country that has the shortest the shortest syllabus, the least amount of syllabus letters, to the longest one. So I would say then we will start with Nepal.
Thank you. So this is a very interesting thing that you have come up with, of all these Northeast and South, and then this syllables. This is very fantastic. So yeah, first of all, I would just like to comment on what you just said, that we feel lonely about this only happened to me. The whole thought of this, and somehow maybe I don't know about other speakers, but I have felt the same way, that you feel when you get into entrepreneurship, when you get into the limelight of you going to speak, you going to like media, there are people listening to you, kind of you sometimes you feel that you are the only one who knows things, and that also gives you a frustration when some things does not happen to you, right? And that makes you feel that, okay, why does all the bad things happen only to me? So the point here I'm trying to make is giving less importance to you and more importance to your objective is the whole idea of getting into entrepreneurship and getting into the business, because you are just a single part of what you are doing. There's a lot of team members, there's a lot of different stakeholders who are a part of it. So it is very much important to be holistic than individual in terms of starting a venture. Yeah. On the point of what you said about the young people have the similar challenges, that we work from 13 years old people to 50 years old people, right? So if I'm talking about 13 to 19 years old people, they have the same kind of situation, pretty similar situation, not only in Nepal, but as we work in Bangladesh, we work in India, we work in Sri Lanka, it is very similar. And even if we had teenagers from Western countries, it is very similar. They want to do things, but they have been told once or the other that you can't do it, right? Because the only reason you can't do it is you are not of that age, right? So the age becomes their hurdle, but they have an idea, they have a solution to things, but that does not work. And that makes them feel difficult. Another is the education system that we have. That is a challenge for these people. At least in Nepal, I'm very much glad about the new education system that India has come up with recently in two days back. It is very good in terms of different things. But in terms of Nepal, in terms of different countries, what I see is we are loaded with different assignments, exams, and things to do. And that makes a very less importance to creativity, to your thoughts, to your imaginations. And when we talk about business or projects or social innovations, it is all about imagination and creativity and innovation. So if you are not letting the students get into all these things, how do you think that students would come up with it? And when few students come up with it, you try to put hurdles for their path, right? So these are two major things that is very much important, and the challenges that these teenagers have been facing. But I'll not stop with the challenge here, because these teenagers which I have been interacting, and you also have been interacting in few days back, are the kind of teenagers who took these challenges and tried to make this as a solution for a lot of different things. Like, I'll just share you an example of a teenager. He had a problem of going to school because his school was about 4 kilometers away, and the only way was to walk, right? And it's from a rural part of Nepal. But the parents didn't wanted him to go buy a bicycle or anything. They didn't want to buy him a bicycle or anything as such, because that was not important. But they gave them a mobile for communication. So this teenager sold that mobile, started making his own car, right? With different things in the locality. His mobile was sold in 4,000 rupees. He tried to find out things, chips, and tried to find out from the garbage stores and all those things. He put it together. He made a car for 2 people. And then he started driving it from his house to his school. And then we brought him to Kathmandu. We brought his car to Kathmandu. We showcased it to people. And that is a story to tell. And there are a lot of these kind of teenagers who felt that there is child marriage should not happen. Kidnap marriage is still prevalent in Nepal. Girls are kidnapped, and then the boys have to marry. Then the girls have to marry the person who kidnapped her, right? That's a situation in a part of Nepal. So this girl felt it because her aunt was faced of these things. So she started struggling for it. She started making social movement for it. She started talking to people. And then that village now has at least 70% less of kidnap marriage, right? So that is something that these young people can do, and they have been doing. They have challenges, but once you can solve these challenges into your solutions, that is social enterprise. Yes, thank you.
Wow, that's truly inspiring story. I think I really like that you say that you won't stop at the challenge there. And yes, and I 100% agree with you. A challenge to a person's eyes is a solution to another person's eyes. Amazing that the teenager that you mentioned from the story built a car from scratch from the garbage area. That's truly inspiring. Okay, so let's move to the next country. I would think the slightly longer syllabus, the country's name would be Cambodia, right?
Okay, yeah. So me, I want to speak about something that a lot of young people are facing, which is called the imposter syndrome. I don't know if you have heard about it, the imposter syndrome. It's like really fascinating concept. It's basically when you feel that you don't deserve attention, that you actually, like, people will find out that actually you are not worth it. Like, you are, like, because you are starting something, you have very little experience, you're like, you have this vision, but like you don't have all the skills, and you have this fear that always, even if a lot of people tell you like you're amazing, like you still have this fear that no, but like I'm not good enough. And I think the moment when you discover that there is a word for it, and that it's something normal to experience, this already like will kind of relieve you. And just type this word like imposter syndrome. You can see like amazing video from TED Ed. And I'm going to share on the chat imposter syndrome. And so it's so how to overcome this syndrome if you experience it yourself. I will really recommend you to stick on the fact only. So if people tell you you're amazing, ask them why. And they tell you like concrete fact, you have to list down this fact and don't put like the judgment that, or maybe actually say this to be nice. Just take the fact as they are and always ask for why when they say you're amazing. And this will help you, like when you have your collection of facts that everybody told you you are amazing for all of these reasons, just accept it because this is who you are. And someone I realized also that some skills that youth have that more like older people don't have are actually what make them very great. Like maybe the enthusiasm of youth, like when you're a young person, maybe like the dream that you have, like your energy, your ability to discuss with many different stakeholders. You can discuss with young people, you can discuss with like older people. Well, actually older people maybe it's harder to connect with young people. So you have things that others don't have and just accept it. And so I really recommend you to search more about this concept and to try always to stick on the fact and not just make a judgment of like how you are maybe behaving. And another thing, I think one of the challenges that I see is like parents' pressure. I think you mentioned a bit already, like this, I can see it a lot here, and especially in Cambodia, it's like a lot of our entrepreneurs actually, like starting a business is very risky. Like parents prefer you to have maybe a job, like in an office, and it's like this kind of hard conversation to have or not to have, I would say. Like, so the way some of our entrepreneurs handle it was like a bit like starting small in their own bedroom, doing maybe studies beside it, or like doing some on the weekend, but like starting small, because at the beginning it's quite scary for parents because they care about you, they want you to succeed, and for them the succeed might not the same succeed as you. So it's really important that you share the why you start this, and you bring your parents to see the results. Don't bring them to see the process, because the process might be long, might be actually scary for the parents, but when the result is out, they will be super proud of you. And if you get the recognition of other people, then this is usually the turning point when parents and children can like finally get each other. So yeah, like this was some of the advice from our entrepreneurs, and we wanted to actually break all of these like wrong ideas in Cambodia. So if you go in the Impact Hub Facebook page, we made some video interviewing some of entrepreneurs, sharing like how did they deal with their parents and to actually make them accept what they were doing. So you can check it out. But so yeah, this is my two challenges I wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Melanie. That's super universal challenges. Like even when I was younger, I also faced imposter syndrome as well. Like, and then I felt that, oh, I'm just such a small potato. I'm not qualified to deserve everything, you know, and then I just let all this stress and nervous overwhelm me. So yeah, but then to get to know about what is imposter syndrome actually is a really relieving point already. And also thanks to Ding Long, he's the one who actually talked about this concept to me in the first place. And also again, like parents' pressure is also very important. And it's also very universal, and it's amazing to know that Impact Lab Phnom Penh is also working on this. All right, so let's move on to the third country that has the longest syllabus in this panel. Let's have Bangladesh.
All right, thank you. So I think Ashish and Melanie, they covered a lot and made my job very easy. But here I would like to mention about two points or two challenges which I have faced it myself, you know, kind of without knowing, or kind of I was guessing maybe I will be in this challenge, but I didn't know when it actually happened, right? So the first one is like, you know, this social and so there are like social, financial, and different kind of peer pressures But rest apart, there are two things which an entrepreneur himself or herself faces it alone. Either they know it or they don't know it. Number one is burnout. So there were many cases when they think, okay, maybe this person burned out. Okay, this will not happen with me. Now I'll work, and then at some time I'll take control of my body. But they don't do it, or they don't understand that they have already burned themselves out till this happens, right? So this is, to me, I think this is the number one challenge that many entrepreneurs faces, but they don't know it. So they should take care of their body. Second thing is, which I'm realizing more and more now, these days, once people are all confined, is their mental health, right? You know, your mental well-being is really, really important. So I think, Linka, kind of you started this question or this phase of this conversation, kind of you touched at this point, but let's say once you become a very successful entrepreneur, like, you know, I'm not referring to any poster entrepreneurs or award winners. Once you truly are a successful entrepreneur in your business, there is so much that comes to your way, right? So this also creates a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations, right? And at the end of the day, everyone thinks that, okay, he or she is very successful in his business, life is set, you have done it, right? You have figured out your life. But at the end of the day, I think most of these entrepreneurs are really, really alone. Nobody sees them crying. Nobody understands what kind of struggle or pressures that they are going through. So they have to deal with it. So for this, I think if many entrepreneurs are into exercises or taking care of their body, they can take care of it. And secondly, I recommend or I advise all of them to talk. In fact, in our current, we have now 2 incubation cycles going on. We have entrepreneurs and startups who are focusing on these conversations that matters a lot, right? So yeah, I think other than what Ashish and Melanie covered, I would like to add these 2 points. These are some of the challenges that I have faced. Many of my friends are facing, and then people will face also in the coming days. So we have to find ways to solve them.
Right. I think that's also another very universal challenges. So apart from parents' pressure, we also have peer pressure. Like all eyes are on us, so we have to deliver something, we have to do ourselves, and there's so much stress. And so it's very important to take care of our mind, our body, also listen to our feeling all the time. So yeah, that's a very, very good point. All right, let's move to Timor-Leste. The country has the longest name here.
Well, yeah, I think the 3 speakers have been covered so many things about challenges that youth are facing. But in context to my country, where I am experiencing 74% of the populations are youth, with like more than 70% of the youth are jobless. You can imagine how much challenge that we are facing. But in terms of those youth who are passionate about being change makers, and what I've experienced with some of them, I see that the first challenge would be the capital. I think many of the youth have great idea, but to execute this idea into real, I think most challenge would be the capital to kickstart. But apart from this, I think one also would be the cooperation among the members. Many experience I have been with them. I see that they don't have so much cooperations when they start their journey of becoming a businessman or doing whatever they want to do. For instance, I have the examples of the youth who, the 5 members who wanted to do a business on a chicken farm, but they ended up closed down the business because after the first revenue they get, the members insist to divide all the revenue and profit. So they ended up closed down the business. They divided all the chickens, divided all the profit and revenue, and closed down the chicken. But what I can see from this, one member stand up and fight alone. So he take up the initiative and then do a business and then start from zero again. But also, I think one challenge is also the society are having less trust to these youths. Like, if I have a great idea and I wanted to do something in my community, I would be like looking down by my society, because in our country, the junior and senior teens is very matter. Like, if you are very young age and you talk to community where they are like older than us, they would say, how much experience we have. They would say, are you sure you can do this? So I think that is the challenges that I would share in terms of our country, the youth are facing in Timor-Leste. Yeah, thank you so much.
Right. Thank you so much, Boni. I think that's not a universal challenge, but more challenge in Asia Pacific region. The young people are not given enough trust and space because of the age. And also because, I mean, we respect senior people, but then sometimes this respect kind of restrain us from giving enough trust and space. All right. So we're almost at the end of this panel. So before we close, I would like to ask all the panelists to give some either word of wisdom or some action points. If you want to share some of your initiative, if you want to call for engagement from the participants, this is your chance. So for this round, we'll go from the countries that has the largest population to the country that has the least largest population. All right, so I guess I don't have to, yes. So I'm not sure how the exact number of the population of Bangladesh, but based on what you just shared, there's just people everywhere. I guess we will start from you, Shazib.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have the largest number of population. So giving advice, this is what I cannot do. But I'd like to maybe make a request or a call to action. I think for many people of our generation, or I think there is another generation who are already being entrepreneurs who are 10 years younger than me already. So just one piece of advice for them, like everyone in the world maybe will say no, everyone will say, I'll tell you that this is what you should be doing. But my request is for you that you try to figure out the purpose of your life, right? So that's the first thing that I think it was really helpful that one of my mentor, he helped me to find it. Second thing is it's about unlocking opportunities. Like now we are in a pandemic, we can we can be super stressed. Depressed. I am also getting depressed and stressed in many days, but it's okay. This also gives us a window of opportunities to see how we can do it, how we can scale it, how we can start a new business. And then the last request is, even if you have a very weird idea, a very random, an idea which you think or everyone thinks will never work, I would request you to just try it. If you want to make it, you have to start somehow. So start it now, start very small, and then the whole world will conspire to make it happen for you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think for those who are 10 years younger than Shazib here, yes, I hope that you take note for yourself, not for yourself at today, but also for yourself for the future. All right, so next we will move to Nepal. I think Nepal has slightly more people than Cambodia and Timor.
I agree. So yeah, advice, again, I would say the same thing as Sajib said. It's not very right because we are still learning every day. So the only thing that I would like to make here is, learning should be progressive in terms of we need to learn things always. Just as we were talking earlier in different sessions of this panel about how are things and how should we adapt to it. So we should not at least consider that we cannot do something. Everybody is here for doing one or the other thing. That might be anything. And as he said, purpose is something that is very much important, and just willingness to complete it. Just the willingness to complete it, that I would get into it, I would get going about it, I would get moving about it. That is something very important in this sense. On the terms of call to action, I would say if anybody is interested in anything that we are doing, if we can bring it together to different countries. I and Malini was already communicating about it to getting something done in Nepal and Cambodia. So maybe anybody that is trying to do, one of the things that we are trying to do is we are trying to put forward Global Teen Hero in all the different countries in the world. We have succeeded in franchising it out to 6 different countries by now. That's a Nepal initiated journey that we have started. So anybody who is willing, we can work together in bringing this platform to your country. And I've just shared you the website of it. So you can just go into it and see if that interests you. We can always work on it. And we should be connected. And this was a very good opportunity to be here. Thanks, Linka. Thanks to everybody at your organization. Thanks, Din, for having all these things. It's wonderful to be here. And I would love to communicate with anybody who is willing to. So I'm also sharing my email ID and the same name. You can find it on any social media as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashish. Yes, also for all the panelists, if you wish to keep in touch with participants here or giving them a chance to reach out to you, feel free to share your contact info in the chat box. So let's move to Cambodia.
Yes, so yeah, I think super great advice so far. I have 2 small ones, but very important one. It's think about the 5 people you spend most of the time with, and then think about like, who are they to you? Like, do they inspire you? Do they pull you up? Or actually, do they take all your energy and you always have to tell them like, oh, come on, let's do it. So these are really, really important. And this close circle of friends are actually the ones who are gonna make you do amazing things. And so if you are not happy with these 5 people right now, it's okay, just let them aside. They will find other nice people. But find people that bring you something, that you can bring something to them. And I promise like this is gonna change your life, only these 5 people. And another small advice also I want to give you is that don't let the opportunity come to you. Like just like go for it. Like a small story, like why I'm here today is because Impact Hub, there is maybe 100 Impact Hub around the world. And one night I decided that I will email all the Impact Hub around the world. So I just took all the email address of each of the Impact Hub and I just then sent them like a very enthusiastic CV and cover letter. And then in Cambodia, they replied to me. I had no idea about Cambodia. And here I am 5 years later running the Impact Hub. And this opportunity changed my life, but this is really important. But don't wait to answer a job description, or don't wait to answer like an opportunity. If you like an organization, if you like someone that you really admire, just reach out to them. You never know what can happen. And the worst thing that can happen is that they tell you no, and that's it. So yeah, reach out to people you admire and great things gonna happen.
Wow. Thank you so much. I love both of them. Find 5 people, be aware of 5 people interacted with you the most, and then see what kind of energy they're giving to you. And yeah, it's amazing. I'm gonna use that. Okay, thank you so much. So let's move to Timor-Leste. Sorry, Bonnie, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I would like to. I think I would like to share a very short message. It is like I think it is good to have a clear goal for anything that you would like to do, even if it is a business concept or a project or community development that you are trying to do. It is always good to have a clear idea on an impact that you are going to bring when this goal is accomplished. Because if you have a clear idea, you will always have a task to do in every step. So it is good to have a clear idea, put into actions by step by step. I think one day you can achieve it. So thank you so much for this opportunity, Linka and Dean, for inviting me to this conversation. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. I 100% agree with you. With your point, I would just like to add there's this amazing book about how to have a clear goal and how do you stick to it. It's called Measure What Matters. Highly recommend to everyone. It's amazing books. Okay, so with that, I would like to close this panel. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm gonna give the floor back to Sean. Before we do that, feel free to type in the chat what's your takeaway, what did you learn, what's your thoughts, what's your reflection, and what are something that you want to share with everyone here. So now I'm gonna give the floor back to Sean. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Linka. I have to say it was the way that you moderated was so fun and engaging that I also got to learn quite a bit from it. And I also definitely want to thank our panelists. So Bonifacio, Ashish, Shazib, and Melanie, thank you so much for joining us today. I think this panel was particularly interesting to me, not just because of the experiences that you shared, but there were some topics that we usually don't talk about that are so important, and those are like challenges that we face day to day, but we don't really think about it that often or reflect on it, that you covered, and we're really grateful that you were able to do that with this panel. Thank you once again. With this, we have come to the end of today's programs. But before we go, I have some important announcements for you all. So please take notice. There are 3 announcements that I will go through. Please listen to them carefully and just note down the details of what I'm going to say next. Okay, so the first important announcement is that all team leaders are requested to check their email from mentoring coordinators regarding mentorship. If you don't receive an email, then please let us know without fail by messaging us. The second announcement is to please submit your team information sheet after updates and presentation file for judges latest by the 6th of August, midnight Korea time. We will send out an email regarding the same to all tomorrow. And the third and final announcement is we request you to please check the Facebook page carefully for the pitching guideline if you have not seen it already. We will divide into 4 groups for the first round of pitching and select 2 teams from each group for the final. I hope that these announcements are clear. I'll be happy to also post them in the chat really quickly. Here we go. Okay, so please take note of these 3 announcements. We have come to the end of today's program. Once again, thank you so much all for joining and staying attentive throughout. I thank every moderator and everyone who's spoken today. We will be meeting again, as you know, by the end of this week. So we wish you all the best to prepare your pitches, and we're really excited to hear them by the end of the week. Have a great week and all the best. Okay, one last thing. If you're still here, please take the poll on Zoom that is available right now. So if you click on the poll, there is a form, and if you're still available, please do fill the form.
I know you remember me, and I know, I remember you, and I know, I hope you remember how we danced, how we danced, how we danced all night to the best song ever. We knew every line. Now I can't remember how it goes, but I know that I won't forget her. 'Cause we danced all night to the best song ever. Danced all night to the best song ever. We knew every line. Now I can't remember how it goes, but I know that I won't forget her. 'Cause we danced all night to the best song ever. Best song ever. It was your best song ever. It was your best song